know Cleveland's got, in particular, Myles Garrett as a great pass rusher. They have some other piece players, but really, when you look at the Cleveland Browns, they're a hard-nosed defense. They play physical. They're led by just this one kind of mercurial player, though. And if you're going to count for him more often than not, you're going to have success against their team because, especially Jadeveon Clowney last year, although he was the number one pick in the draft, has not ever really been what I don't think anybody would consider a pass rush specialist. But we look early in this. Earlier, we look at Jonah Williams versus number 95, Myles Garrett. This is one of the early plays in the game, and I think Zach and the guys over in Cincinnati are doing a pretty good job of getting the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands quickly. In other words, they're trying to get rid of creating problems with 7-step drops, even 5-step drops. There is, a ton of action out of the backfield with the running back getting the ball, quick screens. When you look through this entire game, not a lot of deep play action looks, not a lot of waggles, not a lot of keep passes. A lot of the stuff is done at the line of scrimmage. A lot of decisions are made early. And more often than not, just as a prerequisite as we go into this, I think what you'll see is Joe can hold the ball and make plays, and he can make plays with his feet. He's not a magician but in that sense, but he can make plays with his feet. But most of the great plays that this guy makes, he's making very quickly. He sees something that other people maybe don't see in time. His processing speed is so fast. He gets rid of the ball extremely fast. When he does just hold it, he holds it for a long time. We'll see here, though. It's out quick. Myles Garrett is getting Jonah Williams, who I think is going to be either moved to right tackle this year, or maybe it's just a swing player and a swing tackle player and a backup because they brought in Leonard Brown Jr., but he gets him to turn immediately. This is just a lot of technique faults that go into Jonah Williams in particular. He, from his stance, the way he kicks out of his set, his hands are usually outside the cylinder. He does fight. He is an athlete, but just from a technical standpoint, he hasn't been coached up as to this point as you would hope, given some of the skill sets of the elite tackles in the National Football League. Out quick, but already Joe's feeling Myles Garrett, second play of the game. Out quick again, swing to the back. Again, this is just the first series. You're trying to get rid of that ball as fast as you can. You look over here on the right side here with La'el Collins, and La'el came out. Listen, in Dallas, he had a lot of pass pro issues as well, right? So this isn't a new thing. He's just a big body out of LSU. He had that weird thing going on during the draft, so he was lucky to go to Dallas, I think, as a free agent. He has a huge gap in between, and obviously gaps and your splits are a superpower or a weapon, a pre-snap weapon for the offensive line, because the further away you are from that guard in this particular example, the further away, because Myles Garrett and those defensive ends are lining up on you. So in other words, if you split out another foot, Myles Garrett's going to split out another foot as well. So you are getting him further away from the quarterback. On the other hand, you're giving yourself more space to operate in, but you're also giving Myles Garrett more space to operate in. And we'll see here. This is a quick throw almost out of necessity. I want you to notice that Myles switches his stance the last minute here. As a defensive end, as an offensive tackle looking at a defensive end, if a defensive end switches his stance and puts his outside foot back, you know immediately from a geometry and timing standpoint that he can go inside on his first step or his third step. So in this case, his left foot's back, left foot goes down first step, he can cut inside. Can't do it second step any longer, and now he can go third. So in terms of engagement, you already know this is information you can use pre-snap that a lot of tackles aren't using. As you can see here, Collins is going to try to set out. He's already setting out, so his body momentum is 330 pounds, whatever he is going kind of east and west. And all of a sudden, Myles Garrett, who is a much better athlete, leaner, faster, more explosive, is going to take that vacuum of space inside that B gap off of his first step, inside wide open, right tackle's on the ground. Again, Joe Burrow's getting rid of the ball, but this sets a precedent for the rest of the game. And whether or not Joe Burrow says, I don't even notice it, I seriously doubt that. He's just like any other quarterback. He can see the rush. You can feel the pressure. You know that these defensive linemen are talking to the quarterback. They're talking to the offensive line saying, almost got him, almost got him, almost got you. Route here wide again. See his stance is back to normal. This means he can attack you on his second or his fourth, or he can come in and attack on his third step with his inside move. But that means he's going to more than likely keep continuing upfield. Stiff arm wins. And now Joe, you see this again. Because of the stiff arm, because we get the body to turn early at the right tackle position, Joe's going to get his legs taken out from underneath him. So again, I think we're in the second series of the game, and he's in a position now where this is how quarterbacks get hurt. And so I don't think, as to this point, as I'm watching the game, you see a lot of quick releases. You see a lot of three-step drops. You see the ball getting out early. He's still getting hit. This isn't a pick on one particular player game. This is a lot of technical stuff. These players can improve if they improve their technique for whatever reason. Where they have been as so far, they have not improved the technique. Does that mean that they're not being coached the right way, or they're not being coached intensely enough? Or does that mean that they're not paying attention? Does that mean that they're satisfied with where they're at technically? Do they not believe that that matters? I don't know. But you see a lot of this in the National Football League with guys that are getting paid millions and millions of dollars with the information and technology available to track this kind of stuff now. When we're not doing it, it really kind of it gives me pause, because if you're a guy in the league that's clicking his heels on his first kick, and you're getting, you have this kind of cachet that Lyle Collins now has in the National Football League, it's surprising to me, because it immediately means you're going to turn second step. You're back in with a guy like Myles Garrett, who you've given everything that he wants to. He can stiff arm, he can rip under, he can go underneath. Anything he wants to do, he can do at this point.